Good morning and welcome to Buddha's in Your Landfill on this Memorial Day weekend. So let's see what Buddha we find in our landfill this morning. And I came down, had my coffee, was writing on Facebook, and suddenly it kind of like, what have we just been through these last couple of days with the national funerals of Aretha Franklin and John McCain? It's rare that we have bookends like that on a Labor Day weekend, or on this particular occasion. And so let's take a look at it. And the title of this talk I just wrote up is Satan Was a Maverick. Now there is an interpretation of the story of Satan that I prefer. And that is that when man was created, God told the angels to help man, to worship, to be there, to be devoted to man. But Satan, one of the angels, said, "I can't do that. I can only worship God. I can only be devoted to God. There is no second." And God said, "Well, get thee to hell. You broke my commandment." So Satan willingly went to hell rather than shift his allegiance from God to man. And the last words he heard of God that filled his heart, that kept him alive, were the last words of his beloved, which was, "Go to hell." Anyway, I like that interpretation because it resonates. So Satan was a maverick. And so there were the two funerals, the two bookends, I thought were rather similar and different. So McCain was celebrated for his duty to nation instead of party. So when the chips are down, his compass went to the nation, to America, instead of the party politics. And Aretha Franklin, her celebration was about the joy and the freedom of the song, of music, the joy of the spirit, the freedom of the spirit, you see. So in both their ways, one in the political sphere, one in the sphere of the arts, they were both mavericks in that sense, you see, is that their compass was true. So there are two compasses in the human psyche. One's in the mind, one's in the heart. Now the mental compass is like a magnetic compass. Now the problem with the magnetic compass is that if there is any iron near it, the compass will go towards that. So if the compass is in a box and there's a nail in the box, that compass will go towards that iron, you see. But the gyro compass will not deviate from north. It can't be bent by iron. It can't be bent by will power. You can't be bent. But the magnetic compass can. So the magnetic compass I put up here, the little dots here, the iron nails of false idols. So a magnetic compass will point to a false God, thinking it's God, because everybody else is going that way. But the maverick, which means basically a horse that can't be broken, right? A maverick is a horse that won't be broken. The maverick's compass points to true north and won't be deflected. And so then I connected dots to, let's take a look at a funeral. Now we all know what a funeral is. It's the celebration of the person who died. And you notice that, in funerals, it's not too different from a wedding in the sense that families come together and there's the ceremony, the grief and the tears. and the remembrance and the celebration of the person's positive values. Quite often in a funeral, I'll say, wow, I didn't know that about that person. I sure did miss something. I thought they were just, but suddenly they become gods in that sense, And also, at the funeral, there's a great unity in the grief of the family. The death is a hole in the fabric of the family, but it brings the family together. So there's healing in death. So there's resurrection through death. Unity. Families heal at funerals. Families, and you'll notice, after the funeral, there's laughter and joy and hugs. People connecting dots, connecting their lives back together. Usually it's only at weddings and families when all of the fragments of the family come together. They come from afar to feel and restore the unity of the family. So these two funerals, these two bookends, were kind of like that, where the people from all over the world, all the Americans all over the world, came together for these two celebrations to feel the unity of America again, to feel the oneness of America through death. And that's the Christian message. Christ was a maverick, and he died and united those the members of his family. Through that death, through the resurrection of grief, there is healing and new life, you see. So this is a very personal thing. The healing through death, the healing through grief, because grief opens the heart, and grief makes that gyro compass activated. So we're all running around on our magnetic compass, following false idols, political parties, personal interests over the good of the family. Me first, you see. The biggest, the real false idol is me, you see. And so we're all kind of like angels devoted to me, to the false idol of me, you see. But Satan was the maverick, and he wouldn't take his eyes off of God, which is true north, or just truth. You don't have to put a God on it, just truth. Just unwavering devotion to truth, which is duty to truth and the joy of being free from the iron nails of the false idols, which is the crucifixion. So right there, this is a very Christian message, a very Christian truth here. Unity through death. Healing through death. And the healing comes when the moral compass of our heart is activated through grief, through loss, through upset, through the destruction of all our plans. Like Zorba the Greek, when the plans fail, what is you dance? When your plans and your strategies and all of your idols fail, you dance and sing with Aretha Franklin. This is so universal. When all of the promises of the false idols fail, you dance in the joy of freedom. You dance, you see. And that's Zorba the Greek. And that is all of our personal discoveries. These happen in our lives always in little many things, many funerals. Every time your great plan for salvation falls and crumbles to dust, you're liberated. Your gyro compass of the heart kicks in. And like Satan in hell, you keep your eyes on God, you see. And his last words ring in your heart's mind of your beloved, the last words you heard. Go to hell. Thanks for dropping in.